Welcome back. Let's move to education. Homeschooling has long been a kind of a niche choice by some parents, but now, want it or not, that's what's happening in most American households. It relies, of course, on technology, but also on parental support and a lot of organization on the other end among teachers and schools. Let's talk about it with Tanya Allen, the head of the Skillman Foundation. Tanya, really appreciate your time this morning. Let me start with the news that we got on Friday from the Education Department that these hours that kids spend online learning, and we don't know how long that'll go, but it's not going to count toward the hours that they're supposed to spend in the classroom. What does that tell us about the expectations of what we're all trying to do here now?
Well, I think it tells us that our educational system is really not equipped to deal with the realities of today. So if it was the polar vortex of 2019 or coronavirus 19 in 2020, we're not really equipped to be able to make sure that our students are learning. And so many educators focused on building the systems to support some students. So many students don't have the access that they need. You know, we're spending most of our time talking about like what days count for school instead of spending our time focusing on how do we make sure every child in this state learns. And that has to be the emphasis and the focus of all of our attention going forward.
Well, let's get to that digital divide here. And of course, there's a lot of focus on the city of Detroit with that regard, but there's a lot of places in the state that don't have a really robust broadband signal, and some homes where the only internet technology is going into a phone rather than into a computer. What do we do to bridge that gap and make sure that the kids don't end up falling way behind over these coming weeks or months?
Well, that's absolutely true. So there are some districts that are in the UP where 50% of the people who live there have access to the internet connections into internet. So we know that we have great disparities. They don't have access to their libraries because the libraries are closed as well. And so we just have to really address this. We've seen some schools do some miraculous things. They've surveyed every student. They've gone and make sure that every student has the proper equipment. But we got to make sure that that equipment really works. It has all of the software involved. Detroit Public School Community District just recently launched an initiative to try and get donations so that individual students can have computers. But this can't be left to charity. Like, we have to deal with this issue. We know we have an equity gap in this state. And the more that we ignore that equity gap, the more we will be unprepared for moments like this. So when we come out of this, Devin, my point would be, let's not leave this as weak as we started. Let's leave this by making sure that we enact policies by the end of this that actually make sure that every child actually has access to the tools they need to learn. And this is our moment to be able to do this. And we got to get our state legislators to be focusing on the long term, as well as helping to meet the immediate needs of this crisis.
Oh, I hope that's right, that when we're done, we've got an ocean full of teachable moments here on so many fronts of how to do this for the future. I'm really had an interesting conversation with my colleague here, Karen Drew. She's got two kids in two different grades, and they've all, of course, got different teachers. And Karen is about to pull her hair out because all of those teachers use their own system. Some of them want the kids to go to their own website. Some of them have a portal through a school. Some of them are a part of a different third-party system. Not having everybody in the same basic sort of infrastructure is a big problem here, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's a huge problem. And how do you navigate all of the information? And there are so many resources in a good way. People are pushing out online resources that parents and families should be utilizing. So the challenge is that's like pouring, thousands of pieces of curricula in front of a teacher or a parent who is untrained and saying to them, you figure it out. We have to make this easier for both our students and our families. And many of these people that are working home, just like Karen, even if they have the technology, they're still working. Right? Like, so they don't have the entire day dedicated and focused on teaching their children as well. So we have to figure out how to make this easier, streamline it, and make sure every child can participate. And I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Her students have too many choices and other students have no choices. That's a fundamental challenge here.
Well, if you had to come up with just some general advice then for parents right now who want to make the most of this time without getting their kids to fall up behind too much, but at the same time not wanting to create too much of a chaotic situation in the house, what are the things that you think that all parents ought to be thinking about doing here to try to do this as best we can?
Well, I think a couple things I would just say is like, use the curriculum that your schools are sending to you. If there are supplementary educational sites, go use those things. Go use math sites that will be helpful. But I think the thing that we are not spending much time talking about is the fact that our children right now, as well as adults, are being traumatized in this moment. And so I think the most important thing that parents can do is love their kids, take them outside, spend some high quality time with them, help them digest and dissect what's happening right now so that they make sure that their kids are not carrying trauma. And then the last thing, make sure your kids understand what's going on with this pandemic. What we don't want to have is any kind of racist kind of narratives come out of this, because we see so many people are starting to talk about this virus in the wrong way and beginning to create narratives, negative narratives about not Arab Americans, related to Asian Americans. And so we just got to take this moment to make sure our kids can understand where we're going, what's happening, giving them the tools and making sure that they don't make up the wrong information and begin to hurt others.
And always they look to us to be a steadying presence in their lives. Exactly right. All right, Tanya, thanks so much for the great thoughts and for the time this morning, and stay well. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Devin.
All righty. We'll be back with more. We'll talk about now the challenge for folks who rely on things like Meals on Wheels. What happens for them now at a really tough time? This is Flashpoint on Local 4.